This 39 Dunedin News Bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on 39 Dunedin News, Dunedin plays host to some rising stars of New Zealand rugby as a week-long tournament gets underway. Putting smiles on some young faces, Dunedin's annual Special Rigs Convoy prepares for a special anniversary. And propping up Dunedin's history, a variety of local heritage groups call on new members. Good evening, Dunedin. I'm Callum Proctor. A major national secondary schools rugby tournament is kicking off in the city. 16 teams are vying for glory in the week-long event, and there's potential for players to take their game to the next level.
Going head-to-head, rugby players from around the country muck in at Logan Park, trying to get ahead of the competition. It's the first day of the country's under-15 secondary schools rugby tournament, this year hosted by Otago Boys High School. And there's already fierce competition, with organisers promising some excellent rugby from prominent schools.
Hamilton Boys and Mount Albert Grammar, they contested the final last year and they're both very strong again this year. It was a cracking final too, 27-26 it was in Palmerston North last year. So I'm picking them.
Hamilton Boys High is defending last year's title. Ashwin says the current Otago Boys side is a young one, facing big obstacles to victory. He's hoping for at least a mid-table finish, and says lots of team training mean that's a strong likelihood.
We also, we do skills development in terms of position-specific skills. We have an academy program. These boys do 2 hours a week, so that all adds to that field training.
There's already been an upset, with St Bede's from Christchurch beating Mount Albert Grammar. That's a big win for the South Island against an Auckland school well known for its rugby. And with a high standard of play all round, Ashwin says standouts may even be shoulder-tapped by scouts in the crowd.
There'll be people here with an eye to the future and with an eye to recruitment. And it may be just other schools, or it may be provincial or higher. So it's a very very prestigious tournament.
Games run until Friday, with the final scheduled for noon. And Ashwin expects it'll be a cracker, hopefully involving locals. David DeLorean, 39 Dunedin News.
Well, only 2 submissions have been received on the City Council's plan to sell part of Logan Park to Otago Polytechnic. The sale's now subject to approval by the Council's Chief Executive. Residents were asked to give feedback on the proposal, which involves the sale of just under a hectare. The site's currently used as a car park fronting Union Street East. Otago Polytechnic plans to build student accommodation on the property. Ngāi Tahu was to buy the land and develop student accommodation, but it pulled out of negotiations late last year. The site sits alongside an existing bowling green and includes former club rooms currently leased to the Polytechnic. Plans are brewing for next year's milestone anniversary of Special Rigs for Special Kids. The annual event proves to be an emotional, mind-blowing journey for many locals as children ride across the city in style.
It's not every day a convoy this big rolls into Dunedin, with more than 200 trucks lined up to take youngsters on the ride of their lives. Despite the weekend's wet weather, this year's Special Rigs for Special Kids event went off without a hitch, as truck drivers toured the city with unique children, an experience that got everyone buzzing.
It's just a great time, yeah. So nice of the drivers and everyone to facilitate it.
I don't know who gets more of a thrill, the drivers or the kids. It's actually a buzz to take them around and actually see their faces.
I like the beeping the horn.
Well, I used to go, when I was a wee kid myself, I used to go to the trucks with Greg and that, and Mum, so yeah, and then I just carried it on, so as soon as I was old enough to drive.
Organisers say the event takes a massive amount of planning, but it's always a humbling experience. Each year, new faces join regulars in the crowd, including one truckie who had an emotional first ride with the family that inspired him to take part.
My great nephew over there is a leukemia success, so it's in the family.
With this year's special rigs successfully attracting hundreds of spectators, organisers are celebrating. But already plans are forming for next year's 25th anniversary, and a meeting's planned for mid-September to start sorting the extra special occasion.
It's a huge achievement to have an event go for 25 years. Dunedin gets behind it, and that's what makes it a success. So we'll pull something out of the bag.
A charity auction capped off the day. Inch says it's a nice way to end things, as he shies away from fundraising with the event itself, run purely for the smiles on children's faces. David DeLorean, 39, Dunedin News.
6 people have been taken to Dunedin Hospital with injuries from separate car crashes. 5 people were involved in a 2-car collision in Brighton Road at about 4 p.m. yesterday. One received a cut to the head and the others had less serious injuries. In another incident, 2 cars collided near the intersection of Dukes Road North and Puddle Alley in Mosgiel. The crash occurred at about 10 a.m. yesterday. One person was taken to hospital after a car ended up in a ditch. Police have also charged a 32-year-old male driver after a midnight pursuit in the central city. Well, as the city's 150th birthday is celebrated, there's a spotlight on the various groups that support local heritage. Hundreds of residents are involved in such groups, propping up prominent cultural institutions, and they're looking for new members to join.
Sharing a love of Dunedin's long history with arts and culture, members of various local friends groups gather to spread word among the public, an event organised by Susan Schweigman for the city's Heritage Festival.
The variety is intense, and Dunedin always has been rich in these things.
She says art, music and culture form a layer of society that's often taken for granted in Dunedin, and the public benefits from friends groups which support artistic organisations. But there's also personal satisfaction to be had.
You learn a lot about the organisation, you support it actively, passively through money, but actively for many through the committee work, through the policies that they work, through scholarships that they run.
Schweigman says many local groups have been around since the city was established. Others have come and gone, and more are developing. And there's a constant need for new involvement, particularly from young residents, as existing members age.
So we always need new members coming in with new ideas, new ways of doing things.
She enjoys the social aspect of being involved and takes pride in supporting galleries, museums and gardens as some of the city's most worthy institutions.
These places have been around for a very, very long time, and they provide a great depth to the cultural life of Dunedin.
The push to recruit new members continues, ensuring the city's most colourful features remain vibrant. Rosie Mannins, 39, Dunedin News.
Still to come on 39 Dunedin News, we find out what local divers are doing to help stop shark finning. And we look at the South Island Ice Figure Skating Champs held in Dunedin at the weekend.
A lifestyler to me is a person maybe wanting to escape the hustle and bustle of a big city, wanting some animals, maybe able to grow their own veggies, have chickens, get their own hens. A lifestyle block can be your supermarket, just a good way of living, and a lot of people enjoy that rather than being in a city. A very sustainable way to live.
Pregnant? Need to talk? 24 hours a day. 7 days a week. Pregnancy counselling services are here to help. It's free, it's confidential. Call us now on 0800 773 462.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell menswear, it fits.
She's 21 metres long with a 6.7 metre beam. She can support diving, seafloor mapping and sampling, deep water measurements, and has onboard laboratories. She has a range of 1,000 nautical miles. which means the Polaris 2 can take your studies further than you ever thought possible. My name's Will Raymond, and this is My Place in the World.
Take your place in the world.
Big Orange, for all your movies, records, books and games. Pre-loved needs and vinyl records, 45s, DVDs. A South Dunedin family-owned business for over 15 years. Check us out on Facebook, opposite Westpac on the sunny side of King Edward Street.
Wake up time and another frantic day ahead for Haraway's oat singles. With 3 delicious flavours in each pack, they don't last long with this family. They're so convenient and tasty, and they're ready in seconds. Haraway's oat singles are the ideal breakfast or snack on the run for today's busy families. And there's a flavour to suit everyone. Beat the rush and make sure you get your favourite flavour. Haraway's oat singles. Try new Kiwi Favourites Caramel Variety Pack.
Active Furnishers Limited, home of quality service with superior product and an in-house design team who are always happy to advise and create an imaginative solution for you. Active Furnishers Limited, part of Dunedin's design history.
Hedges are something we almost take for granted. A good hedge needs regular maintenance to look its best and to add value and character to your property. For all your hedge care needs, call the team at SGC Services on 0800 783 453.
Tune in on Thursday for Motorsport Night on Dunedin Television.
Well, the number of new dwelling consents has hit a 10-year high nationwide. There were almost 3,000 new dwelling consents issued last month. That's a 24% increase on last July. In Dunedin, the numbers are reversed, with more consents issued last July than during the same month this year. Over the last 12 months, almost 400 new dwelling consents have been issued in the city. That's about the same number as those issued every month in Christchurch. And on that note, let's take a look at today's financials. And firstly to the markets, the Dow Jones starting the week down 12 points, the NZX 50 also down 14 points at the start of the week. And to the exchange rates, the New Zealand dollar falling against all of the major currencies that we monitor here. Well, a group of locals are doing their bit to stop the international practice of shark finning. They've been involved in the annual Finathon, and supporter Bernard Lloyd of Dive Otago is here to tell us more. Good evening to you, Bernard.
G'day, Kellen. How you going?
So tell us, what is the Finathon?
The Finathon basically is a swimming challenge that's sort of set up and run annually. Basically for people to, I suppose, get together and try and raise awareness and raise funding as well for some vulnerable shark and ray species.
So how many people have been involved in this fundraising?
Well, this year most of the Dive Otago staff have got on board, and basically as a group, me and 2 other guys, we made a team called Team Tomahawk, and that group there had its own wee challenge, whereas some of the other staff decided to do things like swimming for a distance. Another staff member even decided to sort of bake some things. So yeah, everyone's sort of getting involved.
Any diving involved in the challenges?
Well, yeah, definitely. So my team Tomahawk, we decided to do 1-minute breath hold dives for every $10 that we raised. So they were done yesterday, and yeah, we got a total of 80 minutes all up, which was pretty good.
So what sort of money has been raised here by these?
So our team, $800, and Divo on top of that, I think, so both teams combined, I think was about $1,200 US put together. So yeah, pretty decent effort this year.
So Bernard, what's the overall aim here?
The overall aim is basically to really just try and raise awareness of shark finning around the world, and I suppose just get the community together and sort of show them what's sort of about.
So where does the money go exactly?
Well, the money goes to the Project Aware Foundation, and that's a foundation, a non-profit foundation that's set up to, I suppose, try and really close some of those loopholes to help protect those vulnerable shark and ray species. Yeah.
So how bad is this practice of shark finning around the world?
It's pretty crazy around the world. If you, I suppose, for the viewers out there, if they haven't yet seen a documentary, it's sort of like a documentary movie called Sharkwater by Rob Stewart. It's really eye-opening to the point where these sharks are getting brought on board from longlining, having their fins sort of cut off while the shark's sometimes even still alive, and then sort of kicked overboard just with the fins sort of taken. So it's really crazy. Some of these sharks are still alive and obviously sinking to the bottom, sometimes sort of being eaten and or drowning. So yeah, pretty crazy practice, but it's still going on in the world.
What about here locally?
Luckily for New Zealand, in October of 2014, legislation was passed to stop any commercial fishermen from bringing back to shore a shark with fins. The fins by themselves, so fins attached. Or chucking a shark back in. It's basically good news for New Zealand, as you can imagine. So
how can New Zealanders support this and fight shark finning, other than, of course, supporting your fundraiser?
Yeah, so on top of Finathon, I suppose, stopping any sort of purchase of shark fin soup would probably be a good thing, as that's probably what drives that price up for those shark fins, and anyone that sort of sells that, not really buying any of the products that they sort of sell. So yeah,
makes sense. All right, Bernard from Dive Otago, appreciate your time this evening.
Thank you.
All right, after the break on 39 Dunedin News, the best ice figure skaters from around the South Island look for national qualification here in Dunedin, and hundreds of young footballers finish off the season at a mini World Cup.
Sir Bob Charles, New Zealand's greatest golfer and still going strong.
I'm sure that Sportsville was a contributing factor to my success, and I'll continue to use it.
Sir Bob Charles Sportsville, a product so good he puts his name to it.
Well, I believe Sportsville helps maintain your quality of life.
Now being used by active men and women globally to support strength and mobility.
It works for me.
Sir Bob Charles Sportsville in the new all black pack. Call now for the Sportsville special, 0800 502 402.
$128 tracks, dynamic automation, dual faders, and totally digital. This is state-of-the-art music production. The SSL Digital Console. You'll find one in the BBC studios in London, another at CBS studios in New York, and now one at the University of Otago. It's a good reason why our sound now sounds even better. My name is Maddie Parkins Craig, and this is my place in the world.
Take your place in the world.
Discover New Zealand's most innovative museum, Toitu Otago Settlers Museum. 14 stunning galleries, 3 distinct architectural styles, and 1 million intriguing stories are yours to discover at Toitu Otago Settlers Museum. Open daily next to Dunedin Railway Station and with free admission. Toitu Otago Settlers Museum.
Active Furnishers Limited, home of quality service with superior product, and an in-house design team who are always happy to advise and create an imaginative solution for you. Active Furnishers Limited, part of Dunedin's design history.
For 30 years, Southern Clams have harvested New Zealand littleneck clams in the coastal waters of Otago. Hand harvesting to order at the right place and time ensures perfection of every clam you eat. New Zealand littleneck clams, harvested for you by Southern Clams.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Oh, lifestyler can be anybody. We look at a lifestyler as someone who perhaps has been a farmer and is retiring into a smaller block. It could be someone who's working here in Dunedin and has a few acres at home. It could be mum and the kids with the pony on an acre. You know, it's anyone that's got a little bit of land rather than just the quarter-acre section.
Welcome back. 4 Highlanders are in the All Blacks squad for the upcoming Rugby World Cup. Halfback Aaron Smith and midfielder Malakai Fekitoa feature in the team, set to play Argentina in the first match. Outside backs Ben Smith and Waisaki Naholo have also made the cut and will travel to London. Lima Sopoaga fans, though, are disappointed he's been left out of the squad despite his stellar season. The first 5/8 only recently became an All Black, receiving his first cap against South Africa in Johannesburg. The All Blacks also played Namibia, Georgia and Tonga in pool play. Well, some of New Zealand's best ice skaters have been showing off their skills in Dunedin. The city's just hosted the South Island Figure Skating Championships, involving over 100 competitors. And with nationals only a month away, many turned their attention to qualifying.
Ice skaters from near and far compete locally in the South Island's annual Figure Skating Championships. From beginners to senior skaters, every competitor looks to outskate their rivals. And the panel of judges take it just as seriously.
We're looking to see how the skaters move across the ice. Are they interpreting the music? Are they delivering their program? Are they projecting themselves? When they go out there, when they step out there, it's showtime, and that's what we want to see.
Many competitors are classed as up-and-coming skaters entered into pre-elementary and elementary categories. And Williamson Leadley says the sport's going through a development phase nationwide.
We lost quite a few of our more senior skaters over the last few years. We've now got a young group of skaters coming through. We're seeing some really exciting skating coming through, and we really are hopeful for the future of what's coming through.
Skaters have been preparing for the competition season since February, training up to 5 times a week. Something 5-time New Zealand senior ladies champion Morgan Templeton knows all too well. And while she's out of this contest with a foot injury, she's happy to see others succeed.
Everyone else did really well. I thought we had some great competitors. I saw lots of cool spins and jumps, and there was great footwork. And I think across the board in all the different levels, we had some really talented skaters. So it was quite promising.
The South Island Championships serve as a stepping stone to other events, with most competitors aiming to qualify for the national champs at the end of September, before setting their sights on representing New Zealand internationally. Ruby McAndrew, 39, Dunedin News.
Well, football is thriving in the city with about 700 local children involved in a recent tournament. They took to the pitch for the annual Mini World Cup held at the Oval on Saturday. It's the only event of its kind in the country, comprising players from every local club.
Celebrating the end of football season with a large-scale 5-a-side tournament. 86 teams of young local footballers compete in Dunedin's annual Mini Football World Cup. A fun tournament that organiser Shane Carvel says gives young athletes competition experience.
At this age, our first kicks at our fun football ages, which are basically 4 to 8. I guess the aim as a football development officer, which I am, is to highlight the emphasis of fun. But also at the same time, I guess when they get into this little environment, it's getting a taste of a little bit of a competitive nature.
Carvel says most of the city's 12 football clubs are growing in size, with an increasing number of young players signing up each season. And that bodes well for the future of the sport in the south.
I think football is a game at the moment in our city and around the country that is growing, and it's quite exciting. Not only just in the area of football, but our women's game particularly is a growth area, and also futsal as a growth area as well.
He says this year's FIFA Under-20 World Cup games played in Dunedin have helped grow the sport's popularity, showing young players how far they can go. And Mayor Dave Cull says it's great to see so many children passionate about sport.
It's 700 kids here on a Saturday morning in the middle of, no, not quite the middle of winter, and probably as many parents. There's a lot of energy on the place. I think it's a fantastic thing in the city, and that's why I come along each year and get involved.
Carvel says over the next few years, Football South will focus on retaining players between 13 and 19 years old, ensuring local club growth continues so these little ones have a future in the game. Ruby McAndrew, 39, Dunedin News.
All right, now recapping tonight's top stories on 39 Dunedin News. Secondary school rugby players from around the country are vying for victory in a national tournament being held at Logan Park. Special Rigs for Special Kids organisers are celebrating a successful event involving hundreds of truck drivers and children. And new members are being sought for the city's various friends groups which support local art, culture and music institutions. And now a look at what's happening in tomorrow's Otago Daily Times. We welcome in Bruce Query. Hi Bruce.
Hi Callum. In court today, the University of Otago has been ordered to pay $60,000 in compensation to a woman who slipped over in the university's Commerce building. Dunedin is about to get its first electric car charging point. So all those people with electric cars, they'll be able to drive into town and top up. A man has been charged over the theft of a $2,500 ring allegedly taken from a jewellery store in the CBD today. There's a new lobby group being set up in Dunedin, countering what they say is anti-social student behaviour. And in sport, to follow on from your figure skating story, we meet a figure skating fan who's a 68-year-old mechanical engineer. He's made his own skating rink in his front yard and he's travelled all around the world to pursue his passion.
All right, tomorrow's ODT. Thanks very much, Bruce. All right, time now for a look at local weather.
This local weather report proudly brought to you in association with Silverhorn Sportsville.
City view. Shags sitting on the Vauxhall Wharf today. 3 p.m. temperatures, 7 degrees in the central city, slightly warmer at the Gardens and on the Tyree today. Here's the situation map. A deepening depression spreads over the country tomorrow, followed by a cold southwesterly flow, and there's more fronts to come later in the week. And to the forecast for the lower South Island towns tomorrow: Invercargill, freshening nor'easter, cloud increasing and 11. Gore, a high of 9 tomorrow with that nor'easterly. Te Anau, a fresh nor'easter, cloud and 9, and the same for Alexandra, but the high tomorrow is 8. Queenstown, cloud increasing tomorrow and 9. Oamaru gets some rain tomorrow and 9. Wanaka, cloud increasing and 8, and a freshening nor'easter for Twizel, the high is just 7. For Dunedin tonight, cloudy and drizzle at times, the low is 5. Tomorrow, drizzle turns to rain with an easterly, the high 9 and the low 6. Further ahead to Wednesday, periods of rain and a southwesterly, the high 9 for Wednesday. Finally, to the Southern Clams tidal and fishing information. High tide is at 20 past 5 early tomorrow morning, low tide just after midday, and fishing rated as bad for tomorrow, but the best time to put your line in is around about 20 to 3 tomorrow afternoon. And that's 39 Dunedin News for this Monday. On behalf of all the team, good night.
This 39 Dunedin News Bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.